welcome to Clown World, a podcast where I try and get comedians cancelled talking about stuff that's happened in the week. No, I'm only joking. We're going to talk about some topical stuff. We're going to talk about some other stuff. And then there's a Patreon-only thing where we talk about the stuff that we can't talk about on the regular public YouTube one because YouTube would kick us off. Anyway, I'm here with Danny O'Brien, Irish comedian. You're over in the UK doing some shows.
I am. I'm doing a full week of shows. I think I have 10 shows between tonight and Saturday.
Right, wicked.
It's like in and out, like the early IRA. Just get in, work really hard for 4 or 5 days, cause as much damage as possible, and leave.
Do you give a warning as well? Do you give some sort of gravelly
the gentleman's phone call? Just put your hand over your mouth.
Yeah, that's something, man. That's something I appreciate with the IRA. But I think people didn't appreciate the IRA at the time. But now that we've got Al Qaeda and now ISIS are even worse. I think people will look back on the IRA and realise, actually, man, that phone call.
They did try to minimise human casualties, not looking past the fact that they committed loads of really, really horrendous atrocities. Let me be clear about that.
Yeah,
they were no saints by any stretch of the imagination.
But compared to ISIS,
they were sound.
Yeah, the IRA better than ISIS. We can confidently say that. Talking of terrorists, I've got a video here of Greta Thunberg being arrested. It was in the news, so it's reported in the news. Greta Thunberg detained by German police at anti-cold climate protest. You can see her being carried away by the police. Other people actually reported it as an arrest. Wait till you see the video. The video is hilarious. So this is her like, I guess before the arrest.
Yeah.
She's laughing, she's smiling. The police are getting a photo taken with her. They're like waiting for everybody to get into position.
Yeah, this is a very staged bit of PR. I don't know if anyone listening has experienced or seen the German police. I was at a stag party in Dusseldorf,
right,
and I saw these boys go on a couple of people, and it is one of the most violent police interactions. They are animals.
Really?
Like, they've Alsatians and stuff. They're as militant as the police can be, and this is just a PR stunt. And I mean, like, the fact that they even have a sound boom over her head will tell you, oh, I can't believe this just happened. It's like microphone lowers down. Like, at least give her a clip-on mic like one of these.
Yeah, make it like a bit smoother, less of a sort of Steven Spielberg set.
This like, just in, and then the sound boom comes down. Like, get that out of the shot.
And letting everybody, because obviously there's going to be cameras there, people with phones, so that everybody can see. Everybody can see how fake it is. But Greta's on the same side as the government. The government's got all these rules they're bringing through. Even the reason they're protesting is because they're building a coal mine. Well, they're not building. I guess you don't build a coal mine. Yeah. It's the opposite of building. You're digging out. So they've sort of bulldozed this village called like Lowenbrow or something to make space for this coal mine. But that's like the government's like wanting to push this net zero agenda. And they're only having to do this because of what's happened with, they were like, oh, we'll go net zero, but we'll get all our oil from Russia. It'll be really dirty oil, all our coal.
We're not there yet. Like, a lot of people during COVID bought electric cars in Ireland.
Yeah.
And to say it's a shit show is an absolute understatement. Like, so I have an old Toyota Corolla, which is going to outlive me.
Yeah.
And I nearly got sucked into it. I was like, oh, maybe I should get an electric car. They're giving grants.
And it was like free to charge for a while. Yeah. I remember, even though it was like 60 grand or whatever for a Tesla, it's like, well, it's free to charge. It's your sort of.
We don't have the charge points anywhere. We don't have the infrastructure. Some of them they take 3 hours. Most of them take 3 hours. So unless you've got a charge point at home, you can go do your stuff and come back.
Yeah.
But like, good luck trying to do like a round trip to Mayo on one charge. The stress. And I know a few taxi drivers and stuff have said friends of theirs have bought like the Kia ones. And if they leave them for more than 2 days, the battery dies. Like, it's just really incredibly impractical.
Yeah, it's like buying a laptop in 1992.
Yeah, exactly. And the first iPhone battery charge. And I don't know, I just don't think we're there yet. And it's easy to go, okay, come on, guys, let's all be great. Like, you have to provide the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, they wouldn't be building a coal mine if there was a better option. But there just isn't right now.
Well, and this is the thing that they're doing with a lot of the net zero stuff. So, a few years ago, Germany decommissioned 3 of its 6 nuclear power stations. So, the attitude then was, well, while we make the transition to clean energy, whatever the fuck that's going to be, windmills or whatever they can make work. while we do that, we'll just get oil and gas from Russia, and that'll be safe because President Putin's never going to do anything bad. You know what I mean? Like, which, you know, Trump said that at the time, and everybody laughed at him. But yeah, it turned out Trump was totally correct. And it's the same thing happening now in the Netherlands. So the EU's brought out all this stuff, and it's linked to net zero. It's all about carbon emissions. So a lot of the sort of Dutch farms release a lot of carbon dioxide because it's, you know, it's cows and things like that, or greenhouse gases. So it's methane. You know, all these sort of greenhouse gases. They're like, well, we've got to stop that. So they're closing down the Dutch farms, and like then I guess they'll be saying, oh, but no problem, we can get our meat from Saudi Arabia or Russia.
Like, those Dutch farms versus the industrial. I don't know if you've ever seen like
China
documentaries and stuff on the US, like about their food cultivation and stuff. But it's like, you know, you try to recycle, you try to do your thing, but the Dutch are doing the best out of anyone.
Yeah.
But to close them and leave like industrial meat farms from like the biggest like fast food chains in the world run in the States, like they're the number one. Like they surpass car emissions.
Yeah.
So like to close like little Dutch like greenhouse for growing lettuces just seems, you know, and then you look at Asia and China, like China and America versus the Dutch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know that much about it, but I would be happy to put some money on the fact that the Dutch are not causing anywhere near as much damage as America and China are with their industrial farming.
And also in Europe, the greenhouse gas emissions are coming down. So the amount of damage we do in the UK is coming down and down at the moment.
The ozone's healing a little bit slowly, but it is actually regenerating a tiny bit.
Yeah. I mean, the ozone's sort of separate to greenhouse gas and stuff. But yeah, like we're doing so much. Britain's only releasing I think 1% of the world total, even though it's like a much bigger proportion of the world like total economy. But man, like all these places like China, India, places like that, they're still like growing, and they're getting to the point. Like at the moment, the UK and most of Europe is at the point where, you know, we're
green countries. Ireland is a green country.
We're a green country, and we're not obsessed with like getting material stuff because we've already got the material stuff, and now we're like worried about what's for lunch and are we doing Pilates this afternoon? You know what I mean? We've got like sort of, those are real.
We're through that plastic.
We're through that, man. But like in India and that, you're not going to be like, you know, you're not going to be like. I mean, Konstantin Kaysin did a great speech at Oxford Union where he was saying like this is literally a matter of life and death for these people. You know, like making sure your kids have got enough to eat and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be like, oh no, we're going to let our kids die. So, you know, so Greta Thunberg can feel good about climate emissions.
We're all trying to plan for the future, and they're living for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between us.
Yeah.
And you can't expect, you know, someone who eats and earns money every day to live until the next day to think further than that, because that's not how their world is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally. It's funny with the ozone layer because the hole is healing, and but you see people when you go gig in Australia, because you're off to, are you going to Australia
We're going
this
to
year?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's
really bad there.
Yeah, man.
It's actually the worst. I was there 15 years ago, and if I remember right, the burn time. And I'm Irish, like, and it was like, but it was 6 minutes in Auckland.
It's like being a vampire.
Yeah, so 6 minutes in Auckland, and it was like an episode. It was like being in Blade. Like, you know, he walked out, and your skin starts peeling and it crackling off into the atmosphere. But yeah, it was 6 minutes, and like, I remember being on a boat. I was working in a bar in some little island, but I was like, because the wind is blowing, I got like destroyed, and I had sunscreen on, but like that it was the first time I really understood. Yeah. Okay, so that's what the ozone does.
It never really affected like Ireland and Scotland. We've got a good layer of clouds.
It's like getting into a sunbed and be like, I don't see what all the problem is. And then someone smashes the glass, and then they're like, just get onto the bars. Yeah. And then you're like, that's the difference. Like.
And yeah, like being at gigs in Australia, like somebody pointed out, is like look at everybody's ears and stuff, and you see so many people got nicks out their ears. Where
skin cancer is insane.
Where they've had the skin, because I guess when you're putting on suntan lotion, you know, sunblock, it goes. You know, it goes everywhere, but you're gonna miss your ears. Yeah. There's always a bit you miss, you know.
There's always like loads of unfortunately for a lot of Australian and New Zealand people, they have Irish and Scottish heritage. Yeah. So like they're like they couldn't be built worse for that. So like, you know what I mean?
I saw at the climate demo in Germany. There's also this man. The riot police got stuck in the mud. I just like totally bogged down. Reminded me, you know, when you hear about like the Battle of Agincourt and stuff like that,
why is there a wizard at them? Do you know what? This is really embarrassing. Like the German police are. I think they're gonna have to like do some really atrocious stuff to get their fear levels back up. Because now they just look like a drunk 16-year-old at like Big Day Out Festival after having 4 wickets and half a pill, and they're just like, why are they all staggering around like drunk toddlers?
Yeah. And how have climate activists got better footwear than the German police?
How heavy is your gear that you're not able to stop? Why is the wizard helping them?
Oh no, he's like trying to give them. I think he's trying to put a placard there, and he's like chucking it. He's chucking it away.
Why is that one? Did that one get injured?
No, they're just stuck. They're just stuck in the mud.
Oh man, that's really
the mud's
cringe.
So, like, you know when the mud's real like.
It's really embarrassing.
Sucks your wellies off.
See, they know they're being filmed as well. It's a different thing. Like it's, but like, why is it so? Why? Is that that's amazing. I have seen people at Christmas time in London getting onto the tube better than that. And then the wizard just pushed them over.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I know.
That's
it's like
so
30
brilliant.
German police beaten by one wizard.
How did they nearly take over the world?
They must have done it when it wasn't raining. But that's a real thing.
It was the dry.
But that fucks people up when they try and invade Ukraine, when they try and invade Russia. Is the Rasputitsa. They call it. It's when you got mud season in the autumn and also in the spring when the ice melts.
Yeah.
And yes, all your tanks and stuff like that just get bogged down in the mud and can't move. But I saw this as well. This Amish drunk driving guy. And it's funny, man, what the cops are saying.
Whoa! Hey! Hey! Wake up!
This is as Irish in America as it gets.
There's a Bud Light can sitting in there and he passed clean out.
That's what he did for me.
He'll go home. The horse knows how to get home.
The horses know how to get home.
That's amazing.
I mean, I guess there's no chance because it's almost like a self-driving car. There's no way the horses are going to accidentally T-bone a truck at a junction.
That's an Amish Tesla.
Yeah.
And with better technology. Like, I would trust the horse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever driven one. I've a good friend of mine in California, and he's had a Tesla for a good few years. And I remember I got into LAX, and I'd been on an 11-hour flight from Dublin, and I was absolutely fucking exhausted. Like, and I got off, and he's a super American dude. He's like, all right, bro. And he's like, you like my fucking Tesla? And I was just like, yeah. And I just wanted to go to bed. And he's like, drive, man. And I was like, absolutely not. And he made me drive the car, right? So I'm on the other side of the road. I hadn't driven on the other side for like maybe a year or two. I think the last time I rented in America, but I was ready for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were on the motorway, and I was doing about 160 kilometers an hour, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, let go of the steering wheel, bro. And I'm like, I don't want to. And he made me. And I let go of the steering wheel, and it was 6 inches from the wall. I just remember the handles kind of going left, right. And I'm like, it was horrible. I remember just sitting there, like, and he's like, yeah, like in my face, like, and I'm like, this is not relaxing. This is not making my life better. I feel just really stressed.
Yeah.
And what if one of the sensors, what if a bit of mud goes on one of the sensors, and then it just Tokyo drifts into another lane?
Yeah, totally, man. And apparently, like, you can, like, what people do that don't have Teslas is they drive at the Tesla. So if you want to cut up a Tesla, it's dead easy because it's got sense. It automatically reacts. Even if you got it in human driving mode, it automatically reacts. So people like bully Teslas out the way on the motorway.
Wow, they're using their own sensors against them.
Yeah.
As I said, like, I just don't think we're there. Like, even in the States and in the UK, there's loads of charge points and all. I'm like, man, you've been with me in Ireland doing some shows, you've seen those roads.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're driving down a back road from like Castlebar to Westport, and there's like a fucking donkey jumping out of a ditch, and like Teslas aren't built for that level of unexpectation. You know what I mean? Like, or like some hammered farmer just drops a bale of hay in front of you like a video game.
And this wasn't in the simulation.
Yeah, and in the
so
West,
they don't know how to deal with bales of hay.
if you drive from Galway to Clifton, which is like pretty much Clifton is nearly like a peninsula, and it's like next stop is America. Like, it's as far west as you'll get. The sheep rule the roads there, and there's no barriers on the other side, so the sheep just cruise on. I drove on a motorbike once, and sheep literally will just lie in the middle of the road and just like, so you're like, oh my god, like, you're like near death, and they've got like horns, and they don't give a fuck about you. And I'm like, I think they should have brought a Tesla to there and made it go from Galway to Connemara, and if it makes it without getting any sheep wool on the car, then Tesla's won. Elon Musk has won. He's right. Give me the Tesla.
Yeah.
But I need to see a Top Gear. They filmed a Top Gear special on that road because it's so bad.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Because I thought we'd have the self-driving cars by now. Because they've been talking about them for like 10 years.
Back to the Future fucked us all up.
Yeah.
Gave us unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
I saw a guy in Canada actually today. I just saw it on Instagram, where I gotta love this kind of ingenuity, where this dude went and filled in loads of potholes and made this sign, and he said, "I've fixed your potholes for you. Give me your money instead of the government taxes." And loads of people paid him in money and weed. So he got, it's like loads of people in their cars were like giving him cash and weed. So he literally just went around in a wheelbarrow, filled in all the potholes, and like made money. I love people like that.
Yeah,
Hat tip to that dude.
Yeah, become ungovernable. That's wicked. Talking of drink driving, I saw this story. It's not driving, but a woman is suing a bar for serving her alcohol after she went home and she caused a home explosion that cost $10 million. So she's already been convicted of drink driving. That's a separate thing. It's the same thing. So she's convicted of impaired driving in a 2019 crash that led to a massive explosion in London, in Ontario, not London, UK, not the proper one. So she's suing the food and beverage company that served her alcohol, aiming to make them liable for the costs. Man, the precedent this would set. If you could blame every bad decision you made, every bad thing you've done when you're drunk on, and get like
personal responsibility, you absolute piece of shit human. There's this woman in Ireland who fell off a fucking boardwalk where I grew up, right? It's like the Highlands of Ireland, right? It's called County Wicklow, Garden of Ireland, right? Yeah. She fell off and she sued the fucking county where all our taxes go. I remember going, this is the beginning of the end. Yeah. I remember being in the Czech Republic and I saw a guy broke his ankle or whatever. Paramedics come up. That's what happens. I hike all the time. I run all the time. Yeah. If I hurt myself when I'm out, if I come off my motorbike, if I crash my car and it's my fault, it's my fault. Yeah. If you get lamped, and you drive, you're a fucking piece of shit. Yeah. Because you're drink driving, and I'm sure there's options where she was. We don't have Uber in Ireland. You do have Uber in Canada.
It's in a city.
Yeah. So you could have got an Uber home for a tenner. Yeah. But instead you chose to drink drive, and then you fucked up, and then you're trying to make the rest of your country pay for that. Yeah. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah. You should go to jail for trying that.
It almost encourages people to drink drive.
But like personal responsibility, like you fucked up, you suffer the consequences. Yeah. I just can't get my thing over. Like I understand it with children because they're not developed and stuff like that. And like even with like young men are idiots because their cerebral cortex doesn't develop till they're 23 years of age. That's why they jump off roofs with fucking umbrellas.
Is that why?
That's why we're extra dumb.
Right.
You're 23 and women mature much faster. That's why our brains don't finish developing properly till we're like 23. Right. Not making excuses. It's a thing. Yeah. But this shit drives me up the wall. And not only are you not sorry that you could have killed potentially hundreds of people, you're now trying to make everyone else pay for it. Yeah. It's a double down.
Yeah, and make the bar close down so everybody who drinks responsibly and gets an Uber home, can't do that anymore. It's nuts.
If you drink 2 bottles of wine and you set your kitchen on fire, do you get to sue Tesco for selling you the wine?
Yeah, and the matches.
You're an adult.
Yeah.
Grow up, like, you know what I mean?
It's mad how attitudes to drink driving have changed because, like, my dad's friend told me, so in the 70s, he was absolutely smashed. He's driving home from the pub, and the police are behind him, and they turn on the blue lights and stuff. So he pulls over, and a policeman comes up to the window, and policeman's like, have you been drinking tonight? Because you're weaving all over the road. And he's like, yeah, I've had some drinks. I'm pretty drunk. And the policeman's like, okay, well, do you think you can focus on my lights, and I'll drive you home? Like, so the policeman got back in the car, got the guy. So the guy, like, he's smashed. The guy's still driving. He's still driving, but like the policeman's driving slowly in front of him, so he can like focus.
Give him an escort, like a prince.
Yeah. Like
an unaccused prince.
It would have been funny if he just rear-ended him. But yeah, that's the difference, man. The health and safety. I guess like I slag off health and safety sometimes, but there's some good things. I remember when I was a kid, you just get chucked in the boot of the car because there's like 12 kids traveling in that car.
Yeah, hidden under a blanket to save them paying £2 into like a park. Did a load of that, like literally getting human trafficked, and it's ridiculous. Like, but I just can't get my like we know better now. Like it was a different time, a different era. you know what happens when you drink drive.
Yeah.
And the result of her actions are probably the perfect example of it. But I just don't understand how you can go like that's mental to me.
Yeah.
It's like, are you gonna sue the vineyard? Like, how far back does it go? Do you know what I mean? Are you going to go to like Anheuser-Busch in Missouri, who gave you those 15 Bud Lights? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's nonsense.
I'm pretty sure she was drinking white wine. Talking of personal responsibility, man, this is a chart of obesity in America. This is mad. Like, it's a bit shrunk down, but this is the percentage of adults who are obese, because that was over in America. So, like, basically in 1970, it was about like 12% of adults in America were obese.
Okay.
Then it comes up, because I was in America in about 1996. I think that was the last time I was there, and it was like I noticed, like, because America was already famous for having fat people in it, and you go there and man, you saw like people. I've never seen fat people like it. And it's like somebody sent me a picture of I think it's Tess Halliday or something, this fat model.
Yeah.
And also a picture of a photo of an old Victorian sort of circus freak who their thing was, I'm the fat lady, and the pictures were identical. You know what I mean? Like the average, and even like, you know, revered and lauded body shapes are now. We're at the stage where, you know, we would have been in a Victorian freak show if we'd gone back to them. But man, I noticed in '96, man, I'd see people I couldn't like. You get fat people in Scotland, obviously, but never that kind of fat, like proper land whales. And now it's gone that it was only like 23%.
So a quarter.
Like
it's gone from a quarter of the population to half the population.
It's doubled since then. So now there's even like
the abundance of the problem with the States is, I've been there like quite a lot in the last 15 years, maybe more. The availability of, like, if you go to a supermarket like Whole Foods or any of them, to buy and make your own food is really expensive, and the convenience of eating shitty food is extremely convenient.
And if you buy food that's made for you by takeout or whatever, like,
exactly,
it's generally made with loads of oil because it makes it delicious.
Exactly, and it's full of shit. Like, but like, we're lucky, I think, in Ireland and England and in Scotland, that you can go to like Lidl or Aldi or whatever, and you can buy. And it does take a bit of time, and I know it's annoying. Like, I have a really hectic life. Like, I got up this morning and I was in Windsor and I did an 8K run this morning, then had a couple of meetings, then I came here. I had like a vegetarian wrap because I put on a load of weight over Christmas and I was trying to manage it. But you just can't eat that shit all the time. And like, it's no life to live. Like, I've a few mates who've lost quite a dramatic amount of weight over the last while, and 20, 30, 40 kilos, and if someone gave you a 30 kilo backpack and told you to carry that around
all the time non-stop,
and like your knees, and like the amount of people have cancer, it's really it's no life, like. And
why does obesity cause cancer? Is it just because you got more cells? So
well, you have more cells, and you're basically ingesting so many carcinogenic things. Right. Do you know what I mean? Like, we know that smoking causes cancer now. Who knows what the fuck vaping's going to give people? Like, do you know what I mean? That's going to be some next level. If you vape and you don't think something horrific is coming in the next decade.
Yeah, it's going to be like 25 years in, you're going to get a third leg, and everybody's going to get a third leg or something.
They've banned the disposable ones in Scotland and in Ireland. Right. It's in legislation at the moment. But one thing is, there's a certain chemical in it, and they call it popcorn lung. Did you read that?
Yeah, because they banned that chemical from actual microwave popcorn. But there's a guy who sued, and this isn't one of these things where it's like no personal responsibility. So he really liked microwave popcorn. He was eating it like once or twice a day. Then he was breathing in the fumes from the bag of popcorn, and he got this condition in his lungs, like his lungs sort of collapsed or something.
The alveoli, the air sacs in your lungs. It started in the 50s when it had the boom of cinema in the States. So they were making butter popcorn, and it was workers in the factories that started getting like really bad lung problems. And that same chemical is the same thing that people now, like 80 years later or whatever, 70 years later, were vaping.
Right.
So do you get what I mean?
Not the ideal thing to put in a vape.
So you're vaping this weird thing, and it's like. But like, I've been to America even when I was 19. I remember going to this buffet called the Golden Corral. Yeah. And I remember it was like $7 for like a small plate. But to me, that was like $7 or $13. And when I say infinite food, like they had a steak chef, chocolate fountains. I had never seen anything like this and I'm obsessed with food. And as a 19-year-old man, I was like, It was like going for a breakfast in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you should not be consuming 6,000 calories for breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you should have a bowl of porridge. And
Yeah.
like, I love food. And anyone who looks at my Instagram, you'll see there's fucking food all over it. And I love cooking, I love eating. But I also know that if I eat the shit that I love all the time, I'm gonna die young.
Yeah.
So you have to balance it.
Yeah.
I do a bit of intermittent fasting. I do drink gallons of water. I go to the gym. I swim. I run. I do loads of shit because I know I'm gonna fucking fuck myself up if I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, the thing that drives me mad as well about weight loss, you don't even need to exercise. Really.
Yeah.
You can go for a walk once a day. I know a guy who lost maybe 2 stone getting ready for his wedding. He walked 10k a day, listened to a podcast, and just stopped eating shit.
Right, yeah.
You don't have to be like, CrossFit.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a fucking gym bro.
I think the thing that puts people off, because I was reading a thing about a fat comedian. It wasn't John Candy or Sam Kinison. It was, I think it might have been John Belushi. Or no, the guy, I can't remember his fucking name. But anyway, one of the big fat comedians from the 80s in America. And he'd like go and like try.
Wasn't Chris Farley, was it?
It might have
The
been
guy
Chris.
who played American Ninja and
He was
stuff like
on
that.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it's Chris Farley, blonde-haired guy, big dude. Chris Farley. Yeah.
So and he died young.
42 or something. Man. It's brutal,
But he'd go, and because he was big, really fat, like he'd go and try and lose weight. So he'd like spend all day like eating salad and like, you know, trying to exercise and walk and stuff. And he'd get to the end of the day and he's like, I'm still a big fat shit. So what was the point of all that? You know what I mean? And they're like, no, you got to do it for 6 months. I'm not doing that for 6 months. That was horrible.
Like, a lot of people do like juice diets and all that stuff. And I think it's like putting a plaster on an open wound.
Yeah.
But like, if you need a bit of a kickstart to motivate you, absolutely do it. But I'm like, man, just try and exercise a little bit more than you're eating. Like, you can still eat loads of fucking really nice food.
It's a real marginal thing. Like, sort of, you know, just 50 excess calories a day adds up over the year to whatever a year times 50 is.
Once you go over 20% body fat, and the more you go over that, the harder that is to lose.
Right.
If you can just keep under 20.
So if you're over 20, no point trying.
No, yeah, mate. But I like. I remember Bill Burr talking about this, and he's like, it's completely curable.
Yeah.
Put down the cupcake.
Yeah.
Pick up, like, I'd love to eat chocolate bars every fucking night after gigs. I'd love to eat toasted sandwiches. Like, we fucking eat pizza in that place after Top Secret.
Yeah.
Because the pizza's delicious.
Yeah.
You can't do that every night.
Yeah.
We'll die.
This is the thing. Like, people are really trying to, like, you know, stick up for obese people. Like this thing, it says, the term obese is a slur because it is used to dehumanize us and harass us. It's not because our feelings are hurt by an accurate description. It's an outdated term that does more harm than good, and as such, it should be eradicated. That's it. And the way they talk about it, they're like, "Oh, obesity is a disease or whatever." Man, I'm sure most people, if you had, you know, whatever the fuck, like the thing that makes your testicles swollen, you have to carry them around, that kind of thing.
That's a disease.
Like, if you've got that, you're carrying your testicles around in a wheelbarrow. Like, you're gonna be like, "Man, I wish I could just get rid of these by stop eating cupcakes."
Nearly all type 2 diabetes. This is mental to me that the human body can even do this.
Yeah.
You can reverse type 2 diabetes. If you go on a vegan diet, it'll be fucking shit.
Yeah.
And it'll be boring and you might have to eat loads of fucking lame tofu and shite that you don't want.
Yeah.
But would you rather that or have to give yourself fucking insulin injections until you die, potentially end up losing a leg?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
It's type 2. So type 1's the one that you're
Type 2,
born with.
Yeah.
And type 2 is the one you can actually do something about.
Yeah.
There's a thing. So this picture, like, so, like, it's being sort of applauded and sort of pushed on people. You've seen so many adverts with like fat models. I mean, there's Tess, what's her name? Tess Holiday, something like that. But this is some advert for swimwear. Who the fuck knows? Or could be any school. Could be any product in 2023 because it's got, you know, the perfect balance of ethnicity, non-binary queerness and transgenderness and fatness as well, like the fat lass in the end. And like, check the fucking cankles, man. This is the thing.
Like, your quality of life can't be good.
Yeah,
carrying that amount of weight, like that person.
Look at how the fuck are the, like, the shoes aren't even. They're just tied. The shoes are just tied with, like, the laces can only reach 2 holes.
It looks like a teddy bear's legs.
Yeah, doesn't it?
But like you're
like somebody's tied off a modelling balloon.
You're not gonna live a good life like that. Like, I genuinely feel sorry for people like that have had to just the thoughts of having to carry 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, if I'd give you a piggyback.
Yeah, every
and then
time you went somewhere.
Another 3 of your mates.
Yeah.
And you're like, here, Danny, can you go down to the shop and get me a Twix?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Like, you're going to be absolutely fucked. Like,
yeah. And but like previously, it would be seen as a sort of something you'd have to change, so it'd be like some sort of social pressure on her to not be fat.
Listen, man, I'm not saying that anyone has to be body perfect.
I am.
Also,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
And people have kids, and it's a hell of a lot harder. I do a bit of sea swimming, and it's me and Willie White, who's is a comic from Dublin, and like, we're the biggest wimps. Like, the women are like Vikings, like, they're in the water, like, get in, you pussies, and we're like screaming going in. But like, for women, it's a lot harder to lose weight. Like, I have a high metabolism, very aware of that. My sister's the same, my mother's the same, so I can lose weight, but I find it hard to put on muscle. So if I train loads in the gym, it creeps up like by 0.01% or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can cut weight pretty quick, and I know that's not the same for everybody.
Yeah.
We have to at least, like, do something, give it a go.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of comics that we know that have had heart attacks in their early 40s.
Oh man, yeah, it's really unhealthy.
It's
being a comedian, because you're on the road all the time, so you're eating and you're
late night
eating
sandwiches, drinking.
late night. You're getting home at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. sort of thing, and you're making yourself pasta, or you're picking up, service station food on the way back when you drive back from Hull or wherever.
The last piece of service station sushi in like, because Little Chef is closed.
Oh man, one time we stopped. I was coming back from.
What's
Hull
your thing? Because everyone has a kind of a go-to. You know what I mean? When you go to one of those service stations, like, have you got a thing, like, it's your go-to?
If I can get to a Marks and Spencer's and they've got like the salady stuff reduced, I'll get the salady stuff from, because at least that's kind of semi-healthy and it's quite tasty. But one time, like, we're coming back from, it was me, Joe Jacobs, I can't remember who else. We're driving back from this gig in the Midlands or whatever, or up north, and like we stopped to get some Marks and Spencer's service station, and I went in and I was like, oh my god, all the salad and stuff is reduced. So I piled up, I got like 3 things of the salad. Went up to pay for it. The guy's like, I can't sell this to you because it had just gone over midnight, so it was like technically next day. So it was like, they legally couldn't like sell it.
I just go, sorry, I'm putting it in the bin then.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, well, don't fucking chuck it. And then he fucking took it, and like, because there was a screen and stuff, I tried to grab it from under the thing because he's like,
that's
he was such a cunt.
What an arsehole.
He was such a cunt.
What a fucking loser. Like,
he put that in the fucking bin instead of like, I could have at least like taken it. Like, even like, what he thinks?
I've no time
I'm
for
come back
and that kind of.
Oh,
and also, like, if you're gonna get in trouble or something with work, just go, I'm just gonna leave this back and then I'm gonna dispose of it. There's a way to do it, and then if you take it, they're not recording him, man. He's not wearing a wire in case he's giving away some fucking salad to a comic at fucking 3:30 in the morning. We have the tapes.
Like, that's the most dangerous, dangerous to your health thing a comic's ever taken at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, to be honest with you, one of the reasons I look after myself, and I try to, I'm fucking far from perfect, man. I love fucking burgers and late night pizzas and all that stuff. But watching comics that are the same age as me, 10 years on, and I'm like, man, if I don't look after myself, that is what is going to happen to me. And I don't want to be 60 and, like, on a mobility scooter, or have to have like one of those like fat sticks to like get around. You know what I mean?
That stand up on their own.
Yeah. With the 4 legs on it. Like, if you've one of them, unless you
get tired from using your stick, you can put it down for a bit.
Even the stick needs a rest because it's been working so hard from carrying you around all day. It's made from like weapons grade space metal because it's holding like 44 stone on it. Like.
But yeah, man, and I saw this. There's this graph as well that shows. So this is obesity by deprivation. So the least deprived people. This is in the UK, by the way. The least deprived people, like about 22% obese. The most deprived, especially women, 40% of the most deprived women are. I mean, I don't know whether they're being deprived of. It's not chips. Hey-oh. But man, I guess that ties in with what you're saying. It's actually it can be expensive.
Shit food is really cheap.
It's really cheap. But the thing is, man, eating a bit less shit food is always going to be cheaper than eating more shit food.
But see, it's a vicious cycle, and like a lot of people are dealing with like mental health problems and stuff.
And also, if you're working, if you're like, I think a lot of the sort of most deprived people are like.
They're triple jobbing, double jobbing.
They're triple jobbing and stuff, and you got like, especially if you're trying to raise a family, you don't have time to like,
If you've a family and you're working 3 really fucking shit jobs, the only thing that's keeping you going, and I would be the exact same. like one thing I find mad with this as well, like I used to be social care worker, so I worked with a lot of I worked with drug addicts, primarily kind of heroin addicts, opioid addicts, alcoholics, you name the addiction. But I studied addiction, and one of the things is that heroin is actually non-toxic to your body.
Right.
So heroin doesn't actually fuck up any of your organs. It doesn't really do anything to your brain. Being an addict,
we're now sponsored by the Taliban.
I forgot about that. The poppy fields of Afghanistan. It's non-toxic, but
I guess the stuff it gets mixed with because it's illegal.
Yeah, so what it gets cut with, and the way you put it into your body, so that can cause infections, ulcers, and then obviously the lifestyle that comes with being a heroin addict. So, you got a lot of poly users who are taking tablets, and then there's drink, and then they don't look after themselves. So you get like tooth rot and stuff like that. And the thing that's driving
them to take drugs is the fact that there's some sort of pain or trauma that they're trying to mask. So that's that drive to sort of cover that. It's not like you're living a healthy lifestyle.
And I think Trainspotting, which I loved as a film and a book, but it really glamorized heroin use, and people think it's this, such a perfect day. The first one's like that. The second one's a bit like that. The third one is just so you don't feel sick.
Right.
No one takes heroin. They feel high for like a minute or two.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh my God. They're just doing it because when you stop taking heroin, this is the worst thing about it. All those like ulcers, your toothaches, like you've got a million things. Like people have had broken legs and stuff for years, and they don't notice.
Yeah.
So that's why you see lots of heroin addicts on crutches and stuff, because they've been injecting into their groins, so they've ulcers all over them.
Yeah.
But like you can kind of recover from that. It's mental how resilient the human body is. But that's my point. It's like you can recover from putting on weight. You can. It's so manageable. Like, do you know what I mean? If you just like, I had a really bad knee injury, and I went to physio for 2 years, and eventually I went to this gym, and this guy's like, if you do everything I tell you to do, I'll fix your knee in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I did everything he told me to do, and he fixed my knee in 6 weeks.
Amazing.
And
that was an ACL.
Yeah, I was meant to get a complete reconstruction,
right.
And I couldn't. I would have been out of work for like six to 8 months.
Yeah, that's another thing. Being a comedian, you can't you can't take a month off.
No,
because then you don't earn for a month.
Exactly, you don't make any money. But it just really woke me up, and I changed my attitude towards exercise, changed my attitude towards food, and I'm like, I can't be eating shit and stuff anymore. Like, it's alright to have blowouts every now and then. Like, I went for dinner last night with my uncle and a few friends, and we had a really nice meal. But I got up this morning, I did an 8K fucking run. You just got to balance the books.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate, though, for people living in low socioeconomic areas, working multiple jobs.
Yeah.
But like, they should be given free healthy food, man.
Yeah.
There should be some kind of government incentive or something to make them. You know
but then who's paying for that? I already pay enough tax.
I think it's
why don't we just give them a bit less unhealthy food?
Yeah, or just make healthy food cheaper, and make unhealthy
less
food
chips.
More sugar tax.
Yeah, tax them.
Yeah,
tax those deprived people.
Tax the bad shit.
And pay. Why don't they pay for my avocados?
You should not be able to get, and I've seen this massively in Scotland and the UK. You shouldn't be able to get a 2 litre of fucking Coke, a pizza, 2 things of garlic bread, and a tub of ice cream for £5.
That's in a co-op.
Fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and like, I wouldn't turn down that deal. You wouldn't turn down that deal.
Oh man, I get it all the time.
I don't judge anyone who does that, but that should not be.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't be. That should be a fucking roast chicken, thing of salad, and a thing of milk and bread, or whatever. Something semi-balanced for a £5.
Funnily enough, man, talking of government intervention, somebody came out with a story that said Lucky Charms, according to the
I saw this.
So Lucky Charms, which I mean, I don't know if you've had Lucky Charms. Are they mandatory?
They're pretty racist. They're pretty racist.
I mean, can you imagine if this was the equivalent black?
They're
kid
like, do you know
on
what
the
they
cover?
It's literally like an Irish equivalent of a gollywog. Like, and also like, I had it in America, and I swear to God, it was like taking ecstasy.
Yeah.
Because there's so much sugar. I remember drinking
some sort of super available sugar that just goes straight into your bloodstream.
The little charms look like ecstasy tablets. Yeah. They look like, do you remember, like, I was like, what is that, a blue ghost? Is that a love dove, a speckled Mitsubishi?
Getting in a nightclub toilet.
And like the ads, man, if you want to laugh, it's just like, oh, yeah, diddly-dee. That's why when you meet Americans, they're like, I love Ireland. That's why they believe. Lucky Charms is the reason.
I love your sugary charms.
Lucky Charms is the reason why Americans believed that Tom Cruise in Far and Away spoke like a real Irish person. That's whose fault it is. Lucky Charms' fault. Like, him going, I love you, I always have. There's not a fucking county or person, even if someone had some kind of horrific brain injury that made them talk a certain way, no one in Ireland has ever spoke like Tom Cruise in that film, ever. one thing I don't understand. Why don't they just hire even English or Irish actors for roles as Irish people?
Yeah.
You either learn to do the fucking accent or get someone who can do the accent.
Yeah.
But why get these mad high profile like Australians and Americans and they're just like, oh my God, I'm so glad to be here in Galway. And they're like awkwardly looking at the camera and you're just going, fuck off. I've stopped watching so many series. As soon as I get a bad Irish accent, I'm out. I'm sure you're the same with a Scottish one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there, Lucky Charms are healthier than steak, but that's American steak.
Lucky Charms are healthy. Oh, what is there a difference between like British steak and American steak? I know.
Massive.
Meat in America gets like hormones and antibiotics. And
our
stuff.
lowest acceptable grade of meat that you can buy, so you're super cheap, your cheapest Tesco mince or whatever supermarket, right? In America, there's another 2 rungs of quality below.
They're still for humans.
For humans.
Yeah.
So what we can only put in pet food in this part of the world is for sale. Because I remember being in a supermarket in America.
So I should be eating pet food.
Pet food would be on par. Like pet mince, pet grade meat.
Yeah.
Here is on par with human grade meat.
Wasting all this money on human mints. Fucking pet mints is fine.
But I remember being in the States and seeing in a supermarket grass-fed beef, and I was 21, and I remember going, "What do you mean grass-fed? It's all grass-fed," because I didn't know that they keep their fucking cows in these fucking cages and feed them high fructose corn syrup to the point that they've got like fucking shit up to their udders, so then the udders get infected and get all ulcers. Then they have to give them a ton of antibiotics to deal with all the ulcers because they don't let the cows move around like that, and that's what goes into the meat, and that's why the meat is like all this hormone-ridden, fucking rotten fucking shit.
A lot of Americans got that big jaw thing going on. I always wondered if that's because they give the cows, or they used to give the cows hormones to produce more milk,
and bigger boobs as well. The boobs is the thing.
Yeah, they give the beef hormones to make it, bigger and bulk. Like,
gives you
like roids,
beefy jaw like Desperate Dan.
Yeah, so then the hormones are
quite a beefy jaw. You
get a whole generation of big fucking hormone roid rage.
Yeah,
Americans, probably a great idea. But that was when America was great, when it built the world.
Yeah, but also there's also horrendous internal issues going on there. You can't have a jaw the size of a fucking Ford Focus's bonnet and not think that there's going to be something else on the back. Like, what's in the boot? Like,
yeah. So I pulled up the Snopes thing because, man, I always look at. I know, like, a lot of the time Snopes and fact checkers will say, "Oh, actually, this is proven to be false," and it'll be true. But in this one, they even say it's true. So that's how true it is. It's so true that even Snopes had to say it's true. But yeah, man. So they used this algorithm, whatever thing they've got for calculating how healthy food is. And yeah, so watermelon's number like 100, like the healthiest thing. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, all right, it's got fiber, it's got some vitamins, but it's sugar and water basically. Yeah. And then frosted mini wheats are super healthy. Like, what the fuck? Honey Nut Cheerios are super healthy.
I love them. I'm gonna start eating them again now that I know this.
You know why they're delicious?
Why?
Because they're really bad for you. Anything that's like really delicious.
Special K, no, not ketamine, the cereal. Special K is like one of my favorite cereals of all time, and I remember years ago I saw us eat it, like, and then I looked at it, man, the amount of fucking salt and sugar in it, and I'm like, I can't be eating this shit, like.
And Special K's even like it was sort of marketed as a health one. It's sort of like
there's women like laughing into bowls, sprinkling like
going rollerblading,
salt baying, like strawberries on top of it, and it's like basically 50% sugar, salt, and the rest is just rice flour,
just filler,
just rice
sweeping to the factory floor. But yeah, and all this stuff that I thought was really whole egg fried in butter. I'd have thought that's healthy. It's butter, which is natural. It's an egg, which is supernatural. Not supernatural, but like natural. Comes out of a chicken's arse or whatever. Cheddar cheese, one of the worst. Cheese, I'd have thought is healthy. Ground beef is the worst thing on there, and it's to be minimized. And I thought beef stuff like that.
See, America, when you heat fat, that's where it fucks you.
Is that right? So if
when you cook olive oil, it goes from being
is that because it like
transitions over to like,
is that a trans fat?
Yes.
This sounds transphobic.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing. Trans fat is transphobic.
What if it still identifies as olive oil?
Exactly. It identifies in its original state as olive oil. Basically, when you heat any fat, that's the fat that then coats your lungs and turns like your heart into a piece of brie.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So like butter is fat. and olive oil is fat, but like you know, the people who live the longest are the Greeks and the Japanese,
Right.
and it's like they all have olive oil and anything, but they don't cook it. But it's
They
when you
don't
start
cook it.
when you start heating fat,
It
particularly like
changes.
vegetable or animal fat, it really fucks your shit up.
Right. Does it become carcinogenic as well?
Oh, big time, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
fucking
And
hell.
bacon as well. Like anything that burns. Like if you kind of burn bacon, like that's why America it's really bad with cancer, because it's like get my steak on the grill.
Right.
Like unless that grill is really clean, because you're basically eating that black ash that burnt.
that bad?
But it's really carcinogenic.
Oh,
and
shit.
I'm from a country where red lemonade is still available.
Yeah.
And they made red lemonade illegal in like America and Australia about 30 years ago.
What
but
is
not in
red
our-
lemonade?
It's like white lemonade with loads of carcinogenics in it. Right. And like I don't know why we won't let it go. Like we know it's really bad, but you can still get it in Ireland.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because some of those juices make me like, I don't know what is it, aspartame or
Aspartame, yeah.
aspartame or
That-
something.
that-
Makes me wheezy.
It's awful stuff, and I think it's aspartame, or someone can correct me on that. Yeah. But aspartame is basically it's the shit of an amoeba. It's
Yeah.
a bacteria's shit. Like it's not even a manufacturer. So they have all these farms where this bacteria excrement, and that's what aspartame is. So that's what's in your Diet Coke and stuff like that. So you're
Jesus,
eating,
that's a sweetener.
yeah, but the sweetener derives from the byproduct of a like single cell organism. So you're
Yeah.
eating the shit of a bacteria. So like Diet Coke. Like if I'm gonna have a Coke and I'm really hungover, I just have a fucking Coke.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have about 4 cans of Coke a year.
Yeah.
So like after a festival or when I'm absolutely fucked and I need the caffeine and the sugar, I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah.
bad, but you know, but don't if you're drinking Diet Cokes every day, don't think that you're having a fucking smoothie. Like.
Yeah. Jesus. And this the media advice on this sort of thing always seems to be quite contradictory. Wait, what is this? So like these are just a year apart. This is in the Daily Mail. Not I take it. Nobody's actually looking at the Daily Mail instead of their GP for health advice.
Yeah, if you're
you know
going
what I
to the Daily Mail for health advice, I think you might need one
You're
of
in
those
trouble.
4-prong sticks.
But yeah, so 2019, they said 1 egg a day lowers your risk of type 2 diabetes. Controversial study says it promotes fatty acids that protect you from the disease. Just 1 year later, says eating just 1 egg a day increases your risk of diabetes by 60%. According to them, this is, man, I see this every time. It's like every week they've got to, it's like they have to write a story every week about food being good or bad for you.
Yeah, they're up and down like Oprah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like. But one thing is like I've been over here for 10 years doing gigs, but the availability of cheap like Greg's, man, is so like I use Greg's during the Fringe all the time. I'm trying to get one of their like ham rolls, and like I know they've loads of salt in them, so I try to pick the best thing.
Yeah,
but it's so cheap.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking quick. Like you used to get a roll and for like I think less than £4.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna get that?
Yeah.
But like I remember being in Darlington doing shows, and I was just hanging around Darlington during the day, walking around, and there was 3 Greg's from the town centre, right? And 3 mobility scooter shops. 3. I remember looking at that going,
yeah.
If you don't see that there's a direct correlation between those two things, and like there's big massive queue for the fucking Greg's, and I'm like, this is fucking bad, man.
Yeah. And also people are riding mobility scooters just to be lazy now as well. I was over in Tenerife, and saw these like get squads of people. They're just families on holiday or whatever, and they're on mobility. You can just rent a mobility scooter there, not because you see like women going by with like a plastic pint of beer in one hand, toddler between the legs, B&H Super King in the other hand, like riding this mobility scooter, but it's like they can walk. They're not actually like disabled or anything.
My mate once rented, he has to remain nameless, he got a wheelchair off the Irish Wheelchair Association. I didn't tell them what it was for, but like obviously he shouldn't be using it for anything, but he used it for a Little Britain Halloween costume. And he got one off them for like 20 quid for like the day. Didn't tell them what it was for. Like he was just going around pubs in Ireland with his mate dressed as like Lou or whatever. And I was just there going, that's really fucked up or really funny. Who even thinks like that? But like, yeah, man, imagine like I don't know, just something like lads, like they don't have any scooters. Let's get mobility scooters. Lads doing shots all day, and then just wheelchairing themselves home. Like.
You need that Amish one to like get you home at the end.
Yeah. At least the horse has less carbon emissions.
Yeah, man. There was a lassie. She was complaining. I don't know if she was suing the riding stables, but she was complaining. She was like a plus size model or something, complaining that they wouldn't let her. The riding stables wouldn't let her ride a horse But it's like, yeah, like
because they care about their animals.
it's a fucking horse. It's not a fucking
Like,
JCB.
Would you get on the back of a fucking micro pig? Do you know what I mean? And expect it to be okay?
After a few pints, I mean.
Just like, would you sit in a chihuahua
Yeah.
and then say to your friend, "Oh, you're such a fucking dick. You won't let me sit in your chihuahua. You're weight shaming me.
This is fatphobia.
We're not friends anymore because you won't let me snap the spine of your animal."
This is fatphobia. Talking of fatphobia, this lassie said something about fatphobia. What did she say? Saying you don't find any fat people
Yes, it is.
attractive.
Yes, it is.
Would never date a fat person is not a preference. It's fatphobia.
Shut up, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
I think man, like, not that I'm, I don't need to be dating anymore, but like when I was on Tinder and stuff like that, there'd be a lot of girls who'd be like, oh, they'd specify, must be 6'1" or whatever because I want to wear heels, and not that it bothered me, like, because I'm super tall and stuff. But I was like, yeah, that's right, sister. You should narrow that field down. But man, like, if you, like, as a man, if you posted, must be under 25 stone,
But like,
you'd be castigated as some sort of fat phobic.
But there's
sizes.
plenty of people who do like bigger people, whether it's taller or heavier, whatever it may be. But I know loads of guys who like bigger girls, and that's their thing.
So do I.
And that's
they're all a certain ethnicity.
no, but that's their choice.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how it's not their choice.
Yeah.
To be the other way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give any of them. Like, I couldn't give a fuck who fucks who. It's absolutely none of my business whatsoever.
Yeah.
If like, whatever, man. Everyone has their own thing that they're into for their own individual reasons. But like, you can't just say to someone, well, if you don't like a certain group of people, you're like, I don't mean it like with your sexual preference. Like that's what everyone has their own individual things, like, and preferences change as well, where you mightn't find someone that aesthetically attractive, but they're fucking super sound, and they therefore become more attractive.
Yeah. But, or you get like older and uglier, and your options narrow.
You've got to be what I like to call a realist.
It's like, who was it? Darius is like, was it his uncle or something? My mate's uncle was all like, he said this about getting older. He tried to give, I think it was Darius, tried to give him advice. And he said, like, when you get to my age, they're all beautiful.
Yeah, like, I just can't agree with that. Like, I mean, if each to their own, and whoever wants to do whatever, but don't force someone's individual, personal, sexual choices on them because they don't want to be with a certain demographic of people, big or small. It's their fucking business and no one else's.
Yeah,
like, you can't bully people into that.
Do you think people are fat now because we don't smoke anymore?
That's a weird time to cough. Because, like, I've just been having a fucking massive doob outside. I went for a run earlier, and that's what it did for me. It's funny you say that, because at Christmas this year, my uncle found a VHS tape of his wedding from 32 years ago, right? And I was in it as a kid, and we were all there. My other uncle was there, so he was his best man. And he's like, do you want to watch a bit of it? Because it was kind of weird getting to look at your like great-grandparents and shit who weren't alive anymore. One thing I noticed about the video, and my auntie and all said this, I'm like, there was not one. This was 1990 in Dublin. There was not, bar like a couple of older guys who were like my granddad's friends, and they were kind of like jolly fat. They loved the booze, you know what I mean? But they were in their 60s, like. Yeah. Apart from one or two, there was absolutely not one single. Not my mother, not any of my uncles, either side of anyone. No one in my whole entire family on every side, or my auntie's side of the family, was fat. Right. And I said, there's not one fat person. And my auntie said, we didn't eat that much. We kind of ate good food. There was no real processed shit. And my family used to work in shops, so like there was like an abundance of food all the time. Yeah. So that wasn't like, we probably consumed more than we should, but everyone smoked. That was one thing. And this is not a joke, man. At my uncle's wedding, in the video, they put smokes on everyone's table because it was such a hassle to go out and get fags, and there was like packs of Rothmans everywhere. Like, so now you get like those little chocolates with like your fucking name and your wife's name on it, and a little card. Like, instead, in 1990 in Dublin, it was a pack of Rothmans. But yeah, obviously there's massive consequences from that. But ate right, and like no one in my family A couple of my cousins did like a lot of swimming and stuff, but that's it. No one was particularly athletic.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember like doing any like, hey guys, let's go for a walk. That wasn't a fucking thing when I was a kid.
It was before people, you know, it became more of a thing, like a lifestyle thing to go and exercise, go to the gym. Now there's way more gyms than there used to be. It used to be just the preserve of like, you know, like I guess models and bodybuilders and people like that.
If you stayed in this room for your whole adult life, you had to stay in this room for fucking 10 years, and you had the internet, you could stay in phenomenal shape just through YouTube videos or whatever. There's a million ways. There's fucking, like, look at fucking lockdown, man. I remember doing gym workouts, and fair play to the dude who owns my gym, because they were fucking miserable. I remember doing like press ups and like squats off my couch, piss and sweat, and we weren't allowed to leave the house, but I just did it because it kept me sane, you know. But the cigarette thing made a mad, because it suppresses appetite. Cigarettes cuts your appetite down. They weren't eating as much processed shit, and getting a Chinese in Ireland was a big fucking thing in like the late 80s, early 90s. So none of this let's get a Chinese every night. Like, you couldn't afford it. Like, it was a luxury. You get, like, once a month you'd have a Chinese or a McDonald's. But it certainly wasn't, let's get a Big Mac on the way home from school every day.
Yeah, it wasn't a sort of a replacement for home cooking.
It was a treat.
Yeah.
Like, you were going
your
there.
Your birthday or something.
For me as a kid, it was an event. If you don't fucking shut the fuck up, we're not going to McDonald's. Like, that was said to me, I don't know how many times as a kid. Like, you know what I mean? It was like a veiled threat. Like.
Yeah, now it's, man, like, eating out seems to be, for all that people say that, like, everybody's deprived, everybody's starving, man, people can afford to eat out, can afford to
we've
to
never had more choice, and you got to choose what you want to do more. But like, man, you can, like, even with the cost of living crisis and stuff like that, if you spend one evening a week, batch cooking is a pain in the hole. And I don't like eating the same dinner every night. I find it boring, right? So I try to mix it up. But you can make a whole week worth of food that's healthy. Not super incredibly healthy, but pretty fucking healthy.
And in a slow cooker, so it's cheap and it doesn't take a lot of...
Under 40 quid. If you gave one evening a week to prepping all your food, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, you can do it. There's a guy on... YouTube that I watch a lot of cooking videos called Joshua Wiseman. He just did a video of how to do that. That's a completely balanced breakfast, lunch, dinner for 7 days. And I think it was coming in at $50 and that's in America where food's more expensive than here. You can do it.
And if you are fat, you can just wear makeup like this lassie. Look at this. This is I've seen it. I don't know how I've seen it, but I've seen this lassie before. So look how she starts off. And I'm not joking. In one of the videos she had like
weird. I only ever see her in incognito.
One of the videos she had the hair on her chin. She shaved the hair off before. It was like a full on, like, you know, I've seen men with smaller
Billy Goat's gruff, like a biker chin. I saw this,
And there, I mean, all right, she's still. I mean, those arms are still...
Yeah, it's dramatic, and fair play to her. Listen, if that makes her feel better, 100%. I don't want to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
But makeup has changed dramatically, man. Like, when I was in school, like, I went to a country school, like, in the middle of nowhere. And none of the girls ever really wore makeup, ever.
Yeah, or if they did, they draw a black line around their eyes.
Yeah,
or something,
and maybe like
have some like blue
maybe
stuff
like
on
a
their
tiny
eyelid.
bit of like shimmer on their cheek, but like that was literally they literally washed their hair.
Still on, like, you know, now it's contouring and stuff like that.
Contouring is insane, man. You're painting a different face on your face.
It's different shadows.
It's like
stuff.
like you're changing the structure of how your face looks. Anytime I do TV or anything in Ireland, I always forget that I've makeup on, and then when I look at my rear view mirror and I'm leaving the TV studio, I was like, hey, why do I look less wrecked today? And then there's something really horrible about when you use a makeup wipe and take it off and then realise how old you look. Like, all those horrendous gigs at 3 a.m. and all those petrol station sandwiches represent a different line in your fucking face.
Yeah, man, my diet when I was like early 20s was just so insanely bad. You could just eat whatever you want. It would just fall off like
chicken and mushroom pies from the petrol station.
I worked in a petrol station, so all I ate was stuff I nicked from the petrol station. I might as well have been drinking the petrol.
You were destined to be a comic.
Yeah, like it was just just like king size, and like I got right into all the different like new types of chocolate come out.
Crisps in your sandwiches.
Oh yeah, and like and there's these chocolate covered pretzels. They came out, and I was
they were disgusting. I remember them.
I was like, these are like a health food because it's like it's got a pretzel underneath it. That's like a health.
It's like pushing a pretzel up into your cheek like a hamster and leaving it there when you eat other shit.
This is healthier than a fucking Twix. And like, but man, the sandwiches, I don't think anybody should get like, if I hasn't been wanked in at the warehouse, like I'd get the sandwiches, but then I couldn't be bothered running round because people, after a certain point, this is in a rough part of Edinburgh, it's in Sight Hill, And after a certain time, we'd lock the door. And I mean, I used to leave it open, but then I got punched in the face, so I had to like lock the door. And then people would come to the window all drunk and they'd be like, "Can I get a sandwich?" And you'd run around grabbing my sandwich. "Can I get a Kit Kat as well?" So you'd have to run back. So I got tired. I was only getting paid £3.50 an hour, so I got tired of that. So when the sandwiches got delivered at like 7 p.m. or whatever, I'd just stick them under the desk, next to the radiator, and then like people would come at the window and I'd be like, "No, look, no sandwiches. They haven't arrived." And then I
someone definitely has salmonella from one of your radiator heated.
Then about 4 a.m, I'd be like, "Okay, they've stopped coming at the window now," and I put all the sandwiches all like distended out. And obviously, it's a service station sandwich. The best before date on that is still like you've still got another 2 weeks to go on that sandwich. So
it's like time travel.
Continues fermenting. I basically invented kimchi with these fucking sandwiches, man.
Yeah, egg kimchi. I was the original egg pickler, but any of the pickle or conditions or vinegar, I just left it by a radiator till it festered.
Mine was an Ebola base kimchi, but yeah.
If you've eaten a load of petrol station sandwiches, you'd be fine when you travel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, yeah. Like the amount of thing. Like anybody who's worked in it, I had mates who worked in fish factories, and they said never, ever, ever eat any fish. Everything gets wanked. And then I had a mate who worked in a bakery. He's like never.
I'm gonna wash
he's like
fish
never
forever.
get a custard donut. That's been wanked in. You know what I mean? Like, I worked in a furniture shop. I was like never buy a chest of drawers. That's been wanked in.
My mate used to work in a sausage factory in Ireland, in like rural Ireland.
And they all went up his arse.
No, I remember he said one time they had this plastic shovel to push the pork through into the sausages, and one time this like blue plastic shovel got stuck and went into the gears. So then blue plastic just like basically spiraled in throughout the pork. But they would have been in so much shit for that happening that they just left it. So like someone would have had like a fucking breakfast with basically a blue biro running through the middle of their fucking. Like, that's so fucked up. I think about that all the time. Like,
talking about microplastics in your diet, fucking hell.
At least you could pick that out. I'd rather that.
Yeah, because it's big. You can see it because other stuff is like when you get soap bar when you're a kid. The hash had all the bits of cling film and stuff in it. You just be burning it in. But like my mate, another sausage factory story. My mate worked. It was just in one of the supermarkets, but they had a butchery bit and they made their own sausages. Yeah. But anything like a pork pie or something going out of date went in the sausages. That, everything that was like Soylent, everything getting recycled like Soylent Green.
Jesus.
And but you think about it, man, then
it's like a septic tank for pork.
But then the sausages that go out of date, they probably go in the pork pies. So this thing
just never ends.
Probably got meat in there that's 45 years old.
That's amazing, like those sourdough starters, but with rancid pork. Fuck, man, it's times like this I wish I was Muslim, to be totally honest with you. Like, that's gross.
Allah. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. We got in here. Oh man, KFC brought out incense. So they brought out this KFC flavored. I mean, I dug this out because I thought, because you're into your chicken
massive
nugs.
into food. Do you know, in my 20s, I probably would have bought one of them. Does it smell like chicken or chicken gravy?
It smells like fried chicken. It smells like KFC fried chicken. They've got the secret spices.
That wouldn't be like, there'd be other like incense sticks, like a really strong cinnamon one would actually probably bother me more, or sage.
Right.
Because just, it reminds me of like really annoying hippies and moon cups.
Yeah. And if they, like, man, hippies, obviously I knew loads of hippies growing up in Southwest Scotland. Like, all the English hippies seem to move there because it's like so cheap to live and far away from like where's going to get bombed in the nuclear war or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But man, they were never, for all that hippies are supposed to be healthy and they eat all this, the vegan diet and stuff, they're never
Man, I went vegan for a show years ago called Reformer, and I just did it. When I had that knee injury, I tried to be vegetarian. I tried, and I really stuck to it. Like all I could eat was like bananas and coffee. And I remember coming back from a petrol station, and like you'd have a banana and a coffee, and then you'd leave. And you're like, I'm gonna shit everywhere. Like it was like taking Pentalax. Do you know what I mean? Like you're taking two of nature's strongest laxatives at the same time. And I remember you'd eat a banana, and then you take a sip of coffee, and it was like putting a Mentos inside a fucking can inside of a bottle of Pepsi.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, oh my god, you'd be like literally like, but yeah, like I've got a lot of time for fried chicken, but again, like KFC is grim. It's got that grey chicken, the skin is just sad, and if you're gonna eat that shit, at least go to a chipper and say, listen, would you mind cooking it fresh? I'll wait. Yeah, but not something that's been under a fucking heat lamp. Yeah, and like that chicken that comes out, like in Nando's, like none of the chicken's cooked on site in Nando's. All the chicken comes in this giant pillow. of fucking pre-cooked chicken because it's much cheaper and much safer because they can ensure then consistency because you can't barbecue chicken. We've all been sick from our parents in the 80s.
Right. Oh, so it's pre-cooked.
It's
and
all
then they sort of
pre-cooked.
heat it up in
So
a grill
they
type
mark
thing.
it on the bars. That's all it is.
No
they mark it on the
way.
bars. They put peri on it and they're like, here's your barbecue Portuguese chicken.
But you're essentially just getting like a Big Mac or something
That's
like
it.
that. Jesus.
You're just getting pre-cooked chicken,
Yeah.
marked on the bars, peri sauce on
and that's
it.
why it comes so quick as well.
Yeah,
Because
but-
the last time I got Nando's, like I got it last week or something, and it came in like I was just walking back to my seat and it came.
They're literally heating it up, and like I don't know, something really annoys me. It's one of my pet peeves or pet hates with English people is like, it's gonna go with a cheeky little Nando's. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you absolute wanker. What's cheeky about a fucking Nando? I don't know why it bothers me so much. It's just like, ugh, cheeky little Nando's. You're not doing a bump of coke, you absolute fucking loser. You're eating some overpriced chicken with mild sauce on it. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was like really hot or something, but like, oh, so cheeky. What the fuck cheap? What are you, like Romanian fucking Eurovision entries? Like what is this like? Sorry about that. I don't know. Cheeky Nando's thing drives me up the fucking wall.
We found the thing that triggers you.
Yeah, cheeky. I'm like, there's nothing cheeky about it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I mean? The only thing cheeky is the price of Nando's for what it is. Like, they deserve to be cheeky, but you're not. You're a fucking idiot.
Man, you know it's overpriced because it's the one that, like, you know, if you work for the NHS or whatever, you get discounts. Like, even with American Express, you get like a discount and stuff. And it's like, so if you can discount it, you must be charging loads of money because they'll still be making money off the NHS people and stuff.
They give you all the sauces. It's fucking genius.
Yeah.
They give you all the sauces. They literally mark the chicken and let you do your thing on it. It's quick, but
you're
it's
doing half the cooking yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
you're dressing the plate.
You're literally dressing the pre-cooked chicken.
Right. Danny, thanks so much for coming on. This is the public podcast. If you want to see the Patreon only podcast where we talk about some other stuff, I've got a list of what we're talking about. Got it right here. I should have got it queued up. We're going to talk about the gender neutral Brit Awards. We've got more non-binary nonsense. We've got transracialism. So there are people now, you know, now that it's become the sort of de facto thing to transition between genders. People are now starting to transition. There's a woman who's transitioned to Nigerian, and they're trying to make it, you know, that acceptable. And we're also going to look and see what's racist this week. I'd have thought transracialism would be, but there's other stuff that's racist. Sweden is trying to. The government funded an investigation into white paint to see if it's racist. But that's on the Patreon only one that you got to sign up to my Patreon to get. So sign up to it because then I get money. I can buy sausages with blue plastic in them. But Danny, you're doing shows. Do you want to say about your shows and where they can find
I'm touring a show called The God of All Things Bad all through 2023. So I've got some London shows all around Ireland. I'm going to New Zealand as well, some stuff in Europe and some stuff in Asia as well. But it's all just at the OB Comedy on Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, and on my website, DannyO'BrienComedy.com.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can go and see his shows. Cheers and
Cheeky
bye.
Nando's after.